know what happened. I just got kicked off. It's what happens in live stream world, right? We've all been through it. So, what I was saying is I wanted to talk a little bit about how it works for me to work on crime because Katie and I are both crime psychics along with a lot of the other things that we do. We don't talk about that part of it as much other than to actually read on particular cases, but we have been reading cases throughout our careers. We just didn't actually make it a public thing until we launched True Crime Paranormal, but it's something we've been doing for years, just sort of bouncing ideas off from each other. But I will tell you that it is um, really powerful when I read about or learn about a crime and I start to get a visual of a scene in my head. And that's what I wanted to share with you a little bit. We are back. Thanks, you guys, for piling back in here. Sorry. I am going to do some readings at the end of the show, so feel free to drop those in here. If you dropped them in the other live before I got kicked off, I can't see that anymore, so please add them again. Kat says we generated so much energy it's cutting out. You never know. I have been doing this kind of work for a really long time, and I have seen some crazy stuff happen when the energy is really high, while also on the air live. So, I did live radio for 7 years, so it's crazy what happens when you're live and the energy is happening. Oh, Alan says the snow is messing with his Wi-Fi. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That can happen too. Fortunately, so far, no snow here. We had a little earlier, but so far, no more. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my process. So, oh, I see, Alan. Sorry, we missed you earlier. I just got kicked off and then came back on. So you're in I guess, the second half of the show at this point. Anyway, so when I am researching a case or Katie is reading a case for me, one of the things that happens for me is that I hear words. That's happened, and it doesn't just happen in crime work, it happens in all of my work. But I hear words that are themes or that are a key element to a particular case or to a particular situation. So I start hearing words, and you might hear me sometimes stop Katie and say, hang on, I want to say a word. I'm just going to say this word and then we'll come back to this later. It's because that word comes to me in that moment and it's about whatever I'm seeing or feeling. And so that's really important. The other part of it is that I do a huge amount of relationship work. So I'm an expert in attachments of all types, lots and lots of different kinds of attachments. Those are energetic connections between people. Some attachments actually are also entities, and that's not really what I'm talking about tonight, but all different kinds of attachments between people and between situations and experiences. So, one of the things, the words start coming to me that are themes, that are information I need to know. And then I start to look at the relationships. So the people I'm hearing about, I start looking at the energy in the relationships between them because that tells me lots of stuff about what's going on between people. And I can tell also from those relationships whether this was a negative relationship or a positive relationship, if there was any intent to harm someone from the connection between two people or not, or any history that might need to know. So I start to read those attachments. That's a really important part of what I do is reading the connections that people have to each other and to particular experiences. I might start to see an attachment showing up that lots of different people have in a certain situation and to realize that they're all connected by a particular experience. And then I'll take a look at that attachment, like what's that connecting to? What was that experience? What brought all of this in? Then sometimes I do just a yes and no inside my body, and a yes and no is a really learning to do yes and no for your intuition is really powerful. I'm just going to teach you how to do it. So, yes and no happens in your solar plexus, so in your stomach. Okay. And this is a skill that you can use to answer any question. Is this person being honest? Is this the right choice? Is this the direction I should go? Should I spend this money? Whatever. Ask, put your hand on your belly and ask your question. How does your belly feel? Does your belly feel good and warm? Does your belly feel cold and sick? Like, we all know what it feels like to have a stomach ache, right? We've been having them since we were little children. If you ask yourself a yes or no question and you immediately have a stomach ache, you know the answer is no, this is not the right thing. So, for a yes, I generally feel warmth. Like, I feel warm and open and positive in my stomach, or I feel sort of this cold, clenchy, dark pain if it's a no. So, that's something that you can definitely learn to use. I always do that. So, I'm putting all of this information together. Then also, I am clairvoyant. I do see things. And so I will start to see sort of in the corner of my eye a scenario start to come together, almost a picture start to come together of a person or where a person is or something about this person or a visual of what actually happened. Sometimes I see that. Now, one thing that you have to know about doing any kind of psychic work is that you can't really control if you get an answer about something or not. And the more that you develop your skills and the more you hone your ability to interpret what you see and feel, the better you get at it, but sometimes you don't get very much. Sometimes I feel like we're not supposed to know. Like sometimes we're not supposed to have an answer. Other times I feel like I'm not the right person to read this, or I don't have the right information, something's missing, or someone's not being honest, like the information I'm getting doesn't resonate, and so I feel like there's like a wall here that's keeping me from understanding what's going on because what's ever beyond that, there's some definite, lying going on, and so I do really feel like, it's important to know that it's not like you just boom, get the answer. It's not really like that. Like there are a lot of different elements to intuition. And so you're sort of piecing a story together with all of the different parts of it. I'm hearing some words. I'm seeing, looking at some attachments and what are the relationships between people and those connections. And I'm asking myself in my belly, and then a picture starts to come together and I have to interpret all of that into an answer that is sometimes only 2 or 3 sentences, right? And, this is just me, of course, and not everybody does it the same way or has the same experiences. I do really feel like it, is different for everyone, but I feel like it's important for you to know what my process is because you may be recognizing some things within yourself that actually happen to you that might be a part of your process that you didn't even know you had. And so I love sharing this stuff. And sometimes I hear a story and boom, it does just hit me in the face. But it's not that every time. But one of the reasons that we share the case and the case information is that we're not reading what happened necessarily. We're reading what was the outcome, right? Where are they? Are they still alive or not? We're not reading like all the details of the story. And I know that television and movies have made psychics confusing because what you see created on the screen is really not at all what happens when you do a reading. It's not like that. And it is rarely like, oh, I hear a person's name and then I just line out everything that happened to them. It's not really like that. Like, you actually need some information to work from. Like I said, how can I work on the relationships between people if I don't know who they are. I need to know who they are so that I can then look at the connections between them. You know what I'm saying? So, there are a lot of different ways to do this, but for Katie and I, what we want to do is give the final story in unsolved cases. Like, this is what we see happened in a case that hasn't been solved, not to read the entire thing because you really can't. I mean, that's just beyond there is a limit to what people can do, and some people will tell you there isn't, but there is, and everybody has their own kind of skills, so people do it differently. This is just what we do, but I really prefer the information of the case so that I can tell you the outcome, what happened at the end, and, is something true or not true? That's a pretty easy one for me. I have a very strong, what I call bullshit meter, inside of me, and I feel it when people lie to me. I feel it very strongly. I actually hate it when people lie to me because it's very uncomfortable, and so just to, is this person telling the truth or not? That's pretty simple for me, but when we're piecing together more details that, it takes some time and it takes some practice. So, that's kind of what I do when I am reading a case. And, obviously, I'm not really a medium. Katie is a medium. And so she does some mediumship that I don't do. Although, just because I'm not specifically focused as a medium, I do talk to people who've crossed over all the time. And sometimes they do show up in my readings, but that isn't like a specific focus of mine, I guess I would say. I'm more focused on relationships more than anything and all kinds of relationships and how to make them healthier. Let's see, I wanted to see some of you have some interesting things to say in the chat here. Mary says, I occasionally find missing teens. That's very interesting, Mary. Have you actually found them, physically found them, or known where they were? We'll get to that. I think you commented some more. So and I will get to your reading requests here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to hear what some of the rest of you have to say. Cranky says, I used to mess up electronics at a place I used to work, but not on purpose. Oh, me too. I have blown 2 different office phone systems just by picking up the phone. I don't know why. 2 different offices, 2 different jobs, but for whatever reason, that was kinda my thing for a while. So, yeah, scary. Let's see. Wanted to get to a couple of your questions here. JR, do you have unhealthy attachments? Yes. Most attachments are unhealthy attachments, actually. It's better to not have attachments if we can help it. Mary says it is terrifying to wonder, will you find that person in time and will they believe you? Okay, so you are talking about finding missing teenagers in person. That is amazing, Mary. I hope that you do act on it. And I agree that it is very scary in situations like that. You know, you might notice that Katie and I do not read current active cases, and you might have heard us talk about this a little bit, but we don't read cases in which there are grieving people who do not know whether or not their loved ones are alive or not. I mean, do we have a good feel for whether or not they are alive or not? Yeah. Did we know that JJ and Tylee in the Vallow Daybell case were dead long before they were found? Yeah, we did. But did we feel like that was a right thing to put out into the world that their family members may hear before the physical reality of it had come around? No, we don't feel that's right. We feel like that's unethical. I have run into other situations like that with missing people that I have worked on that I don't give an opinion about things like that because I don't feel it's right ethically. Um, and ethics are super important to me because although I work as a professional psychic and as a podcaster, I'm also a social worker, and I went all through school with ethics and years and years of more ethics after school. And one of the things that I do not want to do is do harm. We take old cases or older cases that we read because we know that families in those situations already have a pretty good idea that their family member's probably gone. You know, if they haven't been seen or heard from in 10 years, they're probably not on the planet anymore, and people know that. They've had an opportunity to grieve, and there's some reality there that they've been able to face, and so we do read those cases. But the real immediate ones, you will find we cover them as true crime podcasters, but we do not cover them as psychics, and that is exactly why. Because we just don't want to hurt people, and in the moment, I feel like that's exactly what could happen, is that we could harm people, and we don't wanna do that. So that's why we do it that way. Let's see. Craig says, "I ran a tester to test electric cooktops, and I kept blowing it." Oh, that's super funny. Okay, I wanted to get back to this with Mary for a minute. It is terrifying to wonder, will you find that person in time and will they believe you? Known where they were and pass along where they are and when they will come home to police. Wow, that's awesome. I'm really proud of you that you did that. That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. We have never worked with the police directly. We used to have a friend who was a detective who would come to us sort of on the sly, and we would give some information about what we felt or saw in a situation, and then that person would kinda go back and use it, but I we were never, like, official, and where we live, it's pretty unlikely that we would be, because we live in a very, very conservative place that would not really see what we do as legitimate. Yeah, Mary says they should always have hope. As a mom, I would always hope for the best. Yes, exactly. I agree that until there's a physical body to be found, they should have hope, and I don't ever wanna do harm to that, and that's why we don't answer those questions. Okay, so I am going to now just do a few readings for you guys because I see there are some coming up here in the chat. Let's see. Okay, Mary Jean says, I'm so excited to hear about your process. I would love it if you could read my dog Nala. She doesn't seem to be feeling well, very shaky today, which has never happened before, and I'm wondering what's wrong. What can I do to help? You know, I do her belly hurts definitely, and I also feel like she's not drinking, so I would encourage her to drink, and I feel like if she's not better by tomorrow, I want you to just get her to the vet and make sure that she's okay, because her stomach really hurts, and she feels thirsty to me, and so I feel like she's dehydrated. I'm not a vet, I'm not making any, diagnoses, that's just what I feel from her. So if she's still feeling this way tomorrow, I would want you to, take her in, have her seen. Okay, let's see here. Mary, would you mind giving me a specific question? You said you'd love to know what I feel for you. I would love to hear if there's something specific you want to know about. It makes your reading much, much better if you ask a specific question. JR, same for you. Healing work and what do my guides want me to know? Ask in a particular area so that it's not just anything, but what life area do you want to know about? Okay, Andrea, 14 years ago, my sister rescued her pup from an abusive home. Since that time, they've been inseparable. Bubs has rescued my sister over the years by carrying her through many losses. This isn't just a dog to her, this is her child. Oh. Tonight, my sister lays with her pup in the vet clinic, praying she doesn't have to make the choice that scares her more than anything, but she's hopeful. She questions if it's time or if she should push all life saving measures. Can you help us? Is it time? Oh, Andrea, let me take a look at Bub. Honestly, I don't feel it is time. I don't feel that Bub is ready to go. It's pretty clear when it is time, like I can really feel that, and it does not feel like time just yet. So tell her to do what she can to help, okay? Let's see, always dusty. Fourth time in my life I've experienced love at first sight with Derek. It's so powerful. Can I trust it? Let me take a look. Okay. I mean, your feelings are 100% genuine, and there's a very strong vibrational match between you and Derek, which is what I see, when people experience love at first sight or they say it's their, twin flame or whatever. To me, that just looks like two people who match up. It's sort of like two magnets that connect. You know what I'm saying? Vibrationally, that is the case. I think you can trust how you feel. Derek, on the other hand, definitely has at least one other connection to another woman. You may know that already, but it's something I want you to be aware of, okay? Let's see. Sorry. Oh, I don't know how I did that. I just showed a a comment on screen. I learned something new tonight, you guys. That's very interesting. Mary, I missed one of your comments. You said, "I see the event or accident 3 days before, and I have to find the person and warn them." Oh, so you've got precognition. That's what that means. That's precognition. That means that you know something before it happens. Oh, so much love to you for that because that is hard and challenging, I know. It is difficult to get people to listen to you and to hear that when it hasn't happened yet. I get that. So, now I understand. Let's see. Mary, have you noticed with drugs involved, there's a disconnect and hard to feel them? Yes. Um, all drugs, alcohol, that kind of thing have an impact on the aura. It affects the way that we vibrate. And the lower we vibrate, the harder we are to feel. So that's what you're noticing there. So good job, Mary. That's cool. Brianna says, I've had a rough week at work. My coworker has been snappy with me. I'm not sure if it's because of me or her personal stuff. Could you help me with this? Oriana, my immediate feeling is that it's her stuff. She's just lashing out when she is frustrated with her own personal life. So, the best advice I can give you is don't take it personally. It's about her. There's nothing you can do. Just, hold her accountable as best you can and recognize that you can't fix everybody. As I really do feel this is her thing. Cassidy says, "Can I get a reading? I used to be gifted when I was younger, but I think I shut it down out of fear. Also, my uncle just had a large surgery this week, and my grandma has been doing so great. I just want to say I love your podcast." Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad, Cassidy. It's very nice to have you here. You know, when you shut your energy down or your intuition down out of fear, it is entirely possible to get it back. That's super, super important to know. So here's what I want you to do, Cassidy. I want you to go get the book Developing Intuition by Shakti Gawain. Okay. This is a life changing book, and this will help you to get your intuition back. I could tell you the skills in the book, but honestly, just go do the book. It's a little tiny book. You have to order it off Amazon, and it will change your life. You will get your gifts back so much. I don't know why I keep clicking clicking on something that's making that happen. Sorry, guys. So anyway, Cassidy, get the book. You're gonna find that it will make things way better and easier for you, okay? Come back and tell us how it's going for you. Oh my goodness. Moonbeam says an energy healing for my uncle who is in the hospital with cancer. Of course. Okay, Moonbeam, let's take a look. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to surround him in gold light. Gold light is the base color of the energy body. So you hear lots about, red and orange and yellow and blue and green and purple and indigo and violet and all those colors when it comes to your chakras and your aura and the energy body in general. But the base color is actually gold, and gold is what your body takes and uses to build anything in your energy body. It is the foundational color of your energy body. And so I'm just going to surround your uncle in gold light so that his body and energy body can use that gold light in whatever way he may need, in whatever place needs the healing and the energy. He'll just have everything that he needs. Okay. So, much love to you and much love to him. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Ah, JR friendships. Friend's name is Yasef. Yasef. Should I just give up? Boy, there is a big wall there. I honestly feel like at this point you're better moving on. I feel like Yosef has made their decision and is moving on. I also feel like this just isn't good for you at all. And I'm not sure that this won't come back around at some point in a more healthy way, but for right now, yeah, I would say move on. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see. Hey, Trisha, thanks for joining us. Okay. Trisha says, I feel like I am intuitive. I get feelings about things that are going to happen lately. Okay. So the thing that you do to grow that is to trust it. The more you trust it, the more you follow it, the stronger it gets. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Always Dusty, you're unreal. Yes, I know his connection. I care about her too. Both beautiful souls. He and I have such a deep pull toward each other. So complicated. Thank you. Yeah, I feel there's a lot to work out there, unfortunately. Never so simple. Let's see. Let's see, Mary Jean, my uncle Brad, who passed about 30 years ago, was his death an accident or a suicide? My family will not talk about it. Let's see, Mary Jean. He is showing me that he did take his own life. I'm sorry to say, but I do feel like that's why your family doesn't talk about it, is it's pretty painful. But I do feel like that is ultimately the outcome. So I'm sorry. The thing is, he's okay. He's safe. He needed a piece out at the time, and unfortunately, that happens sometimes. But he feels he's very much crossed over. He's okay. And I want you to know that that's important to know because sometimes people have this idea that if someone does that, that they've gone somewhere very horrible, and it's not true. I've worked on lots and lots of cases where somebody took their own life, and it's not what we think it is, okay? So he's okay, but there's definitely a reason why your family doesn't talk about it. Oh, okay. So Cassidy says, "Can I have a healing for my uncle?" And I meant that my grandma wasn't doing so good. Yeah, okay. So let's just send some healing out to Cassidy's grandma and uncle. Just gonna do that. I'm gonna send them. They both feel like they need some pink light, which is just a healing light that was very positive and uplifting, and it brings a sense of peace to the body and the mind and the soul. And so I'm gonna send that both to Cassidy's grandma and uncle. I feel like that will help. Let's see. Tricia says, my day started out horrible. My landlord is telling us we have to move in 2 months due to their getting out of the rental business. Oh, Tricia, I'm so sorry. We've been here 4 years and have been fantastic renters. She said, I'm having a panic attack, scared I won't find someone to rent to us. I feel that you will. And I want you to call on that landlord to be the best possible reference for you. I feel like that's super, super important, okay? To be a really good reference for you and to help whoever you rent from next to understand the reason that you had to move out was because it was their choice. It was not that you did anything and that you've been a great renter. I feel like that reference is going to get you what you need. I feel like it's going to take about 30 days for you to find the right place, but I feel like um you are going to get that, okay? So no worries. It's going to be all right. I know in this moment it's scary, but just take a deep breath and, use that landlord, let her know, "Hey, we've been great renters for you. This is because you have to move. We really need you to be a really good reference for us." Okay? I know, Mary, you have a lot of anxiety worrying about your blood pressure, huh? Not sure about why it's now normal. So let's surround Mary in some healing light. We're going to do green and gold with Mary just to help solidify that change in your health, that improvement in your blood pressure and make it a permanent change for you, okay? I'm just going to send that for you and surround you in this green and gold light to help you to heal and to also to resolve some of that anxiety and help you to feel calmer and safer, that things are going to remain positive for you, okay? All right, I'm going to take one more question and that will be the end for tonight. Sharon says, wondering if you ever see me in another relationship. Yes, Sharon, I do. I feel like it will be at the end of this year. And I feel like I know that that feels like a long time, but I actually feel like this is a good relationship. I feel like you've had space from relationships for a while and you need that to heal. I feel like this is a person that you will meet in person and that you will meet in regards to something that you have in common. So, a book group, a club, something like that. So, if you aren't in anything like that, I would recommend that you get into something like that. That's super important because I feel like it's going to give you the connections that you need. So, get out there in your community, find out what's out there. I know we're almost done with this crazy COVID stuff. If you've got your shots and you can go out into the world, go find yourself some community groups. Sorry, guys, my niece just got here, I think, and my dogs are going crazy. But go out there and find some community groups where you can meet some like minded people. But I do feel that you will end up in a relationship by the end of the year. Okay, guys, you know it. I'm Kristi Brower, and this is True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters, usually. And this has been the Thursday Night Psychic Show. And I really appreciate all of you being here with us. I want to encourage you to keep an eye out for our new shows coming out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. And of course, you might find a couple of pop ups over the weekend where I pop in live with a couple of fun true crime stories. So thanks so much for being here, all of you. You know it. We love you.